I don't think I know anyone who doesn't like pavlova. No, can't think of anyone. Well, welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, this is my kitchen, and if you've not been here before, this is the Little Foodie series where I show budding chefs like you the basics of cooking, and we break it down and have a good time in the process. So, pavlova, what is it, you might ask? Well, I would say, have you been living in a cave? Come on, everyone knows what a pavlova is. It's a meringue-based pudding. It actually comes from New Zealand. It might be sunny in New Zealand in the peak of summer right now, because pavlova is indeed a summer sort of pudding, but it's still cold and miserable here. So I've adapted this recipe into a sort of a winter vibes pavlova. So you'll see we've got some cranberries going on, we've got some frozen raspberries and chocolate. It's a chocolate pavlova. Right, should we get started? Stick around to the end because I'll break it down step by step, give you some key pointers along the way, and let's see how it goes. All right, let's have a look at the kit we're gonna need today to make this. So we've got a mixing bowl and a whisk to whip up our meringue, scales or cup measurers, small sieve, a spoon, flexible spatula, and an oven tray lined with parchment paper. Now these are the basic things that you would need to make any kind of pavlova or meringue nests, okay? But I've got a few more things I'm going to use today just to make it a bit easier, and we've got those extra bits that we're going to do. So I'll show you those right now. Move this to one side. And for the extra bits we're going to need, we've got a mixer or hand mixer that'll make our life easier with the meringue. And I'm also going to use a piping bag with nozzle, a grater for the chocolate. So that's from the meringue bit. And we're also going to need some bits to do the things on top. So we've got another tray lined with paper. Now this one doesn't have to be an oven-proof tray. Some smaller bowls will be useful, a medium saucepan and a slotted spoon. There we are, guys. Right, let's get rid of this stuff for now. Okay, so ingredients. We're going to need 4 egg whites, 200 grams of sugar, which is about 1 cup, 2 teaspoons of corn flour, 1 tablespoon of cocoa, and 50 grams of chocolate. So that's the chocolate meringue on its own. Now, if you just want to make normal meringue, take away the chocolate. That's fine. It will still be really good. So now, we don't want to just have it on its own. For the topping, I'm going to use mascarpone cream and creme fraiche together. Now, you could use one or the other. You could even use double cream or whipped cream, whatever you like. The whipped cream will be a bit lighter. And then we're going to top that with some fruit. So I've got 200 grams of fresh cranberries and 200 grams of raspberries. Now the raspberries are frozen because they're not in season, but you could use fresh if you can find them. And then I'll need half a cup of sugar and some icing sugar as well to dust on top. Ooh, there's some good stuff here. Right, the first thing we need to do, I'm going to turn the oven on in just a moment, get that warming up. But the first thing is to separate the eggs. Now, I've actually already separated my eggs because I used 4 egg yolks in another recipe, and so I've got 4 egg whites left. Pavlovas are a brilliant way of using up extra egg whites when you've got them left over. So let's sort that out. Now, if you need to separate your eggs, brilliant tip on how to do that in a video I did just before Christmas. It's the Yule log video. I'll put a link to it right here, and I'll put an extra link in the description below to the exact point where I separate the eggs. Then you don't have to scroll through the whole thing. All right, let's get cracking. Turn this oven on. All right, guys, we're going to start by making this meringue. So, because it's going to take best part of 2 hours to cook, and then it needs to be completely cool before we can do anything else. And not only that, we're going to have to cool it in the oven because it's got to cool down super slowly. So let's get on with this, and then Oh, that's the oven, come to temperature. Right, so we're going to get the egg whites. Now, these want to be at room temperature. First off, put the egg whites into the bottom and then turn that on low. We just start them off like that so they start to get a bit frothy. Now you could, of course, do this with a hand whisk. It's just a hand whisk takes quite a long time. You could also use the mixers that you plunge down in, or the other one I've used before with the on the end of the stick like that. But for a meringue, this type of mixer is the best sort of thing. It's a really good investment for your kitchen. I'll put a link to one in the description below. Right, so once you've got that sort of frothiness there, we can turn it up. This will take a little bit of time. Shall we have a check? Ooh. Not quite there yet. I'd say this is what we call a soft peak. So we did that when we did the log. We want to keep going a bit further. Okay, we're almost there. At this point, I'm going to turn it off. Lift it up. See, we've got some stiff peaks there because that's holding its shape. And in fact, you can do the trick where it stays in the bowl and doesn't go on your head. How about that? Love it. Right, we've got our stiff peaks. So now in goes the cornstarch. It's a good idea to give that a bit of a sieve. Just to give it a helping hand like that. Close that down. Turn it back on. And then I'm going to spoon in the sugar one at a time. Turn it down a bit because the sugar's jumping out. There we go. That's that meringue. Wants to be really super stiff. See how it holds up its shape like that? That is the basic meringue recipe. It's really simple and really fun to make. So now we're going to turn it into something chocolatey. So we can actually get rid of the mixer. And what we're going to do, we're going to grate the chocolate into it. Go straight in. Now you could grate it beforehand if you wanted. Oh gosh, watch your fingers. This thing is very sharp. Right. So I actually decided to do a separate bowl. It was just getting too crazy over there. So put that chocolate in there. More than I thought it would be. We're going to sift in this cocoa. Next step is folding. So got a large spoon and we're going to fold this in carefully. So round the outside, through the middle, round the outside, through the middle. We don't want to lose that air in the meringue. There we go. That is enough. Now into the piping bag. May as well get the tray. So hold over the edge like that. You don't have to use a piping bag. You could just dollop it on there. That'll still work. It'll still look fine, I'm sure. But I thought I'd try the piping bag. So I don't know if this probably might not all fit. I'm not going to put it all in because I can tell it's not going to fit. You want to keep that gap at the top there. Then squeeze it down like that so it comes out of the bottom. And then we just want to squeeze the top together like that. If you hold that between your thumb and your finger and give it a twist. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do little nests, but we're also going to do it in a bit of a round at the same time. So it'll make a bit of a wreath. Now you could draw a circle if you're not sure and then flip it over so it's on the other side, but you'll see through it. So you just start in the middle and then go round like that a couple times. And then we're going to come up 2 times like that. Here we go. We're going to do the same next to it in the middle. And keep going round, making sure you keep a hold of this, because if you let go, it's going to start to spew out. Look, it is a little bit already. As you go, you keep twisting that, and then you squeeze with your fingers like here. Refill my bag. If your finger's under there like that, use the edge to wipe that excess bit off. There it comes. I'm not the best piper, let's be honest. If you don't want to have the bit sticking up, what you do, I'll show you on this last one. Don't lift. When you stop, and then smooth it out like that. You see? Right, I've still got a whole bunch here. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. Whatever you got left over, if you don't want to make it any bigger, just fill in these holes. Now, if you're like me, you're not the best at doing pretty piping, don't worry about it. You can just sort of, with the end of the nozzle, just kind of smooth it out. And you know what? Once it's decorated, once it's got everything else on it, it'll be fine. It's just handy, I find, doing the piping because it helps you to create that shape and keeps it a bit neater rather than just dumping on. But you could just take the whole meringue and pop it on and then spread it out, make it a bit thinner in the middle, and that would be good. There we go. Right, let's pop this in the oven. It's going to go in there for 1 hour and 45 minutes, and it's at a very low temperature. It's only at 100 degrees Celsius, which off the top of my head, I'm not sure what that is Fahrenheit, but I'll put it on the screen. Hey guys, the time has just gone. So we're actually going to leave it inside the oven, but we're going to turn the oven off. And also, I don't want it to get too steamed up in there. Basically, it's got to slow down it's got to cool down really slowly. So I'm going to put this oven glove just in the door of the oven to let out that excess steam, but the actual heat is going to take a long time to go down. And that will help the meringue from cracking. So turn that off. All right, guys. So while that meringue is cooling down, we can do the frosted cranberries or sugared cranberries. Now, this is a basic technique that you can apply to all sorts of different fruits. So it's really good that we get to do that today. And it's actually quite straightforward. What I've done is I've just given these a bit of a wash, and at the same time, it's a good idea to check if there are any that are on the dodgy side, and then I've dried those off with a paper towel. Then you want to make a sugar syrup. Now, the way you do that is with equal parts of sugar and water. Now, so I'm going to use half of this extra sugar. So we used a bunch in the meringue earlier, and then we've got our half cup, and I'm just going to use half of this. So it's 1/4 cup of sugar and 1/4 cup of water, which you can actually save a bit of time by doing boiled water. And then that's going to go onto the hob to simmer for 3 minutes. Okay, right, let's turn that off. So then the cranberries are just going to go straight into that hot syrup, and we want to give them a little bit of a stir like that. Well, you could use a spoon. I'm just going to do that for another minute. Then you want to grab the extra tray, and with that slotted spoon, we're going to pop those onto the tray. Try not to pick up too much of that extra syrup that's down there. And we want to spread them out as much as possible. They're a bit stuck together. There we go. They just want to keep staying stuck together. So we'll leave that now for an hour to dry. There. So the next stage with the cranberries is grab a shallow dish, which wasn't on my list earlier, and put the rest of the sugar into that dish. Then grab cranberries, which have been drying, and the thing is they're all really super sticky now. In fact, they're actually stuck to this non-stick paper. So what I've got is I've got some tongs here. I'm just going to drop them in to the sugar one by one. Bit of a long job. Sticking to my tongs even. Now once you've got a few in there, give it a little shake around, and then because they're all so sticky, the sugar just sticks to the outside and gives them that sort of frosted look. Now I'm going to put these into another bowl. Right, got the idea. I'm going to do the rest of these, and then we'll be ready to assemble and decorate the pavlova. All right, guys. Okay, this is almost ready to go. I'm getting excited, but I have to confess, I've made a critical error, and you can learn by my mistakes. And that is the dish that I had planned to put this on is too small. Look at this. Not by much. But if I put it on that dish, then the edges are going to reach over the edge, and then the middle is going to collapse, because meringue is super light and super fragile. So this stage, we've got to be really, really careful. So it doesn't matter. I found something else that I can use. Got this pizza board, which is a little odd, but never mind. So I'm going to pop that down there. Now carefully, really carefully, this is completely cold, but it's, as I said, it's very, very, very fragile. Move that over there. Now, we've got to take off the paper without ruining the meringue. So this is the challenge of the day. Will I be able to do it? This is sort of non-stick paper, but as you can see here, as I begin to lift, look at that, it's already cracking up a little bit. So we want to move this as little as possible. And the trick is if you fold that under, like that, and then we want to try and bring this under without disturbing the top too much. It's quite tricky. Grab that bottom. Bring it back. Ooh. See, as I move it, they're cracking up. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, that didn't go quite as smoothly as I'd hoped this time. As you can see, some of it has crunched a little bit. Don't worry too much. It'll all come out in the mix, and it's going to taste exactly the same. So grab your cream. Now, I'm using a mixture of mascarpone, cheese, and creme fraiche, but you could use double cream or whipped cream. Very often pavlova, you use whipped cream. So just going to place it on top of here. Got to be really gentle. Anything too boisterous will damage these meringues. Then we want to gently spread it out over the top. Just want it to stay on these tops here, not go down the sides. We've done the cream. Now, I'm going to start by putting these raspberries on. You could probably put frozen ones straight on there, but these are already defrosted, so let's work with these. We'll just have to be quite careful at placing them on. And what we want to do is, because these are sort of portioned here, let's set it up so that most of the berries are on each of these portions. That way they can be broken apart quite easily. Okay, that's starting to look good. I think we can put some of these cranberries on now. And same kind of deal. I have a feeling they're going to want to roll everywhere, so I'm just going to place them on with my fingers. Okay, we are there, guys. Look at that. Does that look amazing or what? Now, I had that icing sugar to sprinkle over the top. I'm in two minds about doing it, to be honest, because these little cranberries with their frosted tops look so good like that. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. And I've actually got a few left over, so I might just put them in the middle. So if anyone wants some extra cranberries, they can have them. Well, there we are, guys. Now, normally at this point in the video, I would take a bite and tell you how amazing it tastes. But I already know how amazing this tastes. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to take it out to some friends tonight. And that's the brilliant thing with this kind of pudding, is that you can make it to take and share with friends and family. So I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell button so you get reminders for the next episode. I'm not sure yet what I'm doing next week, but stay tuned, there'll be more. Maybe check out the social media and see. All right, guys, keep cooking.